Let's see if this is working. I think this is working. Let's see. I have my computer here to see if it works. I think I am live. There I am. Awesome. I'm just going to load it up on my screen here so I can see myself and participate in the chat if I can. Here. It's easier than looking on the computer screen. Hello, everyone. Making sure the view is right. I don't have a moderator working on the live feeds, right? So I just go live at random and trying to do it all on the fly, right? So I guess there's authenticity, if that's what you're into for authentic, right? So I'm pretty lucky. I think I got the angle pretty okay there. So, yeah, hello, everyone. Not much on the agenda today. Very cold in Canada, Northern Ontario here, like it normally is in the wintertime. But we're getting quite the snap this year. Yeah, just randomly going live here. I've been doing this for a while, by the way, if you're wondering. I just randomly go live just to say hello to everyone and just see where the conversation goes. When I don't have much going on the agenda and I got a few things to do today, I'd like to get to this thing here. I want to take the transformer out of there. I want to use the transformer. They're dirt cheap on eBay, by the way. Like, I think it was like less than $100. Nice, fancy, the low loss versions, and basically 110 to 220, right? So I just want to take the parts out because I just want the transformer. I don't want all the guts all around it, my own circuitry. So I forgot I saw it on eBay. It doesn't tell you what the rating is for the, oh, here it is. Rated power, 2000 VA. That's it. So yeah, totally. By the way, I used these as a modulator before for like AM transmitters, magnetic amplifiers. They work good for that. So a lot of purposes to these big transformers, right? So that's my big project for today. And saying hello to everyone. So one person saying rainy in Australia. Wow, better than snowy. We've been getting like minus 25, minus 30. It's been going on like since November. Incredibly snappy, even relative to here. I mean, this is like Siberian type of cold, not Canadian, but whatever. I personally can't control the weather. So I'm just rambling on a little bit here. We're just giving a chance to people to log in and say hello. But that said, I better like see if I can take this thing. Somebody pops in, says something, whatever. Like, curious. Nothing fancy here, really. It's just a transformer. But I want to use it for other things. So, luckily, I think they made it easy for me to get into. This is why I usually ignore the big stickers, warning, electrical shock inside. Do not take apart. I'm just looking out the window. Oh my goodness. The building the other day was crazy. Never seen that in like the whole time I've been here in my life. Ah. Nice. This is exactly what I was looking for. I'll need this. Could be a good shielding for something later. I'm going to keep that. So this is what I mean by the efficient transformer. And see how they've got like the shielding. Don Smith was playing with this kind of configuration a lot. Now it seems like the mainstream caught up to it. And there's this one here. Hello from Sweden. Oh my goodness. Is it warm there? It's cold here. Very, very cold. I have to take a garbage bag outside today, and I'm taking my time just because I don't want to take a deep breath. The switch here. A little light. I'm just trying to save as much of this wire as I can here. Right here. Ground. The output is here. Here's our high voltage out, but I want to run this thing in reverse down the line. And we can keep those connection points on there for now. Makes a good contact. Cold day, cold in New Jersey. Oh my goodness, yeah. Probably almost as good as here. Yeah, maybe I could just keep it on there as long as I got all this open. At least I can get to my way now if I need to do something with it. The shielding won't hurt it. So yeah, that's all it is. That was the big project for today. That went by quick. So yeah, just want to use it down the line for a displacement tap. And I figured it's an interesting ratio because it works well for, I've used these all the time for AM transmitters. They do great modulation coils, so if it works for AM, it should work well for energy as well. That's what I needed. I'm gonna put this down here. I wanted access to the wires. Just a tiny, they actually have a small winding on there just to run the light in the switch. That's funny. Crazy engineering. I've got access to all my wires. I'm gonna run this thing in reverse one day. So yeah, lovely. But other than that, it seems like a quiet Thursday. Quiet Thursday afternoon for me, 1:22 p.m. The Tesla Mind Machine. Yeah, I haven't played much more with that than what I already have posted. Um, it's pretty well there with all I know and the information leading to it. The scalar and torsion interactions. I believe I have the references all in there for it. There's a lot on my site, but it's all public published. So it's all there. I don't have much more personally. Maybe make a bigger version of what I had going on. I showed a little mini motor, bigger magnets, faster speeds, that sort of thing, maybe. Um, Another person in the community from way back claimed that it worked really, really great, and he did something and he fried the internal coils or something. It's what he says, not what I and not analyze. Just he emailed me from time to time saying, he replicated it, he made a super big version, and he was getting ridiculous results with it, and it was working great until one day X and Y ever meant what that actually meant. But the point is, he was quite happy with it for a while, apparently. So all the best for him, and that's what he did. He literally upscaled the whole thing. Bigger motor, faster magnets, bigger magnets, bigger coils nearby. But again, nothing I personally was able to verify, just what I got back in the email. But it did spark interest, pretty interestingly. That was just one of the side things I was into, and some people are still looking into that. Interesting, yes. Actually, I have something on my site about it. typewrite.social/Joel. And it's down there. There's a new analysis, Tesla's Mind Machine. So it's the original document with a new analysis, maybe a month or so old. I believe a document from I believe it's the CIA. Yeah, about the mind resonant out-of-body phenomena explained scientifically with the frequencies and how you can shift realities, like as suggested as what Tesla was doing. But a whole official document from the U.S. government of the whole explanation and tying it into the Tesla Mind Machine, so people can take it from there. My next project, I'm still working on my capacitors just for fun. Like, not I say for fun, as a hobby personally. And the thing I want to build is going to cost about $1,000 in materials. And I don't want to just jump the gun right now on that if it's not going to quite work. It's a steep, even for me, pretty steep to just, But if it works, it would be wonderful. Because it's essentially would be a more stable version of what John Hutchinson had with his power cells, which would actually run analog main light bulbs, right, at 110 volt or whatever they need. So that's my plan, because it's a long story, but one cell produces enough. 110 would be enough to probably light up a 25-watt mains light bulb, is what I'm seeing here. Insignificant as a one cell, right? But once you stack them up, the way it works with series DC cells, the wattage goes up as the same current stays the same between every cell, but potential goes up. It's a free ride essentially on getting wattage out of these devices. Essentially because you don't have to replenish them all the time, right? So let's say it's 25 watts, it's 25 watts. Big deal, you know? It's not burning anything up and it's essentially coming for free. You know, making it really generalized terms here. So that's what I'd like to experiment with, but I don't want to. Yeah, $1,000 to bring it up to mains level, and that's just a prototype. And I don't want to, if I'm not sure myself what the outcome is, I don't want to spend investors' money on it. I don't want to be on the hook if it fails. So even though to them $1,000 might not be very much, it's that much more they could have used for something else. And I don't want to build a pattern of appearing like the speculative guy all the time with the company either. And from that point on, we can explore more speculative and unconventional methods, but you got to start with a working foundation, right? You don't want to go right to the most speculative thing and start with the most extreme one at first, right? But personally, especially with my own money, if I want to take the risk and take the loss personally, financially, I don't know. It depends how you look at it. A loss in a way, money-wise, but not a loss if I value the technical expertise, what I learned out of it, what I know moving forward for myself. If it works, great. Then I'm sure the company suddenly would want to have a piece of it, right? But I don't want to put anyone fails, right? And there's a lot of failures, as I said, in this field. Probably more failures than success. But once you get the success, it feels really good, you know. So, yeah. No, it's not even the money thing right now. I mean, it's just someone said about donating. It's just I personally wouldn't justify or feel right, and I don't want to be owned. But then people, you know, can they have leverage? They go in forums and say, "Oh, he's peddling a scam." You know, I don't have a Patreon. A lot of people keep saying Patreon, Patreon. No, I don't have anything to do with that. If people want to learn, I'm sure, you know, like me, they could learn and do the research. And they don't need to pay someone like me to do all the experiments, especially if you've got the money, you know. Um, no, and that's the thing. I've got a pretty clean profile that way. Um, some people have donated like 7 years ago, and I've done as much as I could with that. I mean, literally ran that equipment to the ground within maybe 6 months, right? And then it's all there. It's all there. It's all in my YouTube. They're all the information for the better, for the worse, until finally it happens. But you know, and that's a thing too. To be fair, I wouldn't feel good asking, you know, for someone to pay, you know, $1,000 part or something either, right? So choose a scope, you know, get one on Amazon, and I'm looking for, you know, the discount Chinese ones for, you know, maybe $150, and I feel bad giving someone that link that wants to just buy it for me, right? But with that said, it's all cheap stuff at the end of the day. It's most of that stuff that didn't really last much. I use it every day. Um, but that was a different situation back then. I was in a major issue financially, and things were really bad in my life and health wise. But everything is a lot better now. Dynamics have changed, and it's not about the money, but I still don't see myself, you know, begging for some. If I feel bad about justifying $1,000 on something I'm not sure it's going to work or not, I wouldn't. Again, if I don't want to do it with my company, why would I want to do it with somebody who would randomly donate it for me just to try it out, right? I still have that burden on me, right? So at the end of the day, I'm just probably just going to hold my breath, take a deep breath, and then just spend $1,000, and I'm hesitant, you know. everything's going up. Everything, you know, basic food and quantities. And you want to experiment, but then it's also, you see the value of the dollar and you're like, $1,000 is a lot if it fails. Or something much more, you know, shelter, food, heat, that sort of thing. Premium, by the way, so just basic necessities. Just reading some. I have not earned as much as $1. That laugh out loud. My goodness. Yeah, and then I never liked Patreon either because I saw myself like people like for example, one person. This person is like personal vlogging of their like mansion countryside with guest house and pool and garden, and they're doing all this stuff, and they're continuously asking for Patreon to help them continue with this feed and show them their gardening and their wonderful fruit generation and whatnot. Meanwhile, you see in the intro of their YouTube that the freaking ranch they live in, right? It's like, really? These are the people, you know, to me, it puts a bad name. And I, again, like, no, don't want to be another one that goes on there and says, you know, check out my Patreon. When a lot of people on there are definitely abusing what it's supposed to be for. And I just don't want to be put in that bucket. That's all. I have the company and there's non-disclosure agreements. I know some of you won't like that, but it is what it is. There's some things that I just cannot share. I cannot show until, you know, we get to a specific step with it all, just like Bedini, Tom Beard, and then the others, right? And it's not to be nasty or anything. It's just, you know, to protect my own bread and butter on the table. Because this is what I'm doing right now primarily. I have other things going on. I own president of radio station in the community, but you know, radio, you know, technically, yeah, that's a thing. I'm doing that. I've got other things going on as well. But the big thing is, you know, the engineering in the alternate energy world and paid for by companies. So a lot of the current stuff I just can't get into. So again, it's not because I hate everybody here. It's just one day, you know, I'm only one more. And it's a big team too. You know, it's not just me. It's engineers, lawyers, innovators. So it's where the company wants to research, and I basically just tag along with them. I have a strong influence as to what I believe. I also don't decide how fast they want to go, how big they want to build the workshop, and how much time they want to spend on R&D. You know, I'm just doing my task, right? So, yeah. And I also can't tell the future either. So, but for as long as I am with them, I have to be careful a little bit for their interest and for my own as well, you know. So anybody wouldn't expect that to be normal. Nobody would expect you to give up something for you to sacrifice your own well-being, your own rent, your own food, just so somebody else could have, you know, less of an energy bill or something. It's not my personal, you know, duty as a human being to be the activist that's going to go out there and change the world so all the poor people suddenly get free energy. You know, as much as that on paper sounds like a wonderful thing and somebody would be a savior to do that, I don't have the personal resources or probably the stamina to take on such a big project, right? As cool as it sounds. But I do have interests. I am good at certain things like everybody else, and I align myself in that field. And respectfully, much, you know, as a single individual in that domain. So, yeah. And you got to remember too, I don't want to get into politics too much and everything, but all of those third world countries that are suffering who are lacking the energy, who either are in heat or in cold. You got to remember a lot of their governments are corrupt to the bone. It's not fair to those people. But if we send aid and money, whatever, over there, it's their corrupt governments that end up taking the majority of it, and their people hardly get it anyways. So at the end of the day, I would give X community whatever free energy. But I mean, it's too much for one person to take on, and to try and make the world a better place, because there's always corruption, and it happens right at the politics, unfortunately. And that's where it is. But again, enough of that. I really don't like talking about politics. There's plenty of channels that specialize, and they get nuked for it on a daily basis, because it's a very sensitive topic these days, right? So I'd rather not even go there. But I did say what I had to say there, live on the spot. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone. That wasn't the point at all. I'm just reading some of the comments. Someone says they can't hear, but everyone else is hearing. So it must be because it looks good here, and everyone's been responding to what I've been saying. And of course, sometimes I pause for a minute or so as I think. So Patreon and Google Voice sucks. Well, sometimes my settings are a little flunky, but I am pretty sure it's working here because everyone's coherent with what I'm talking about. Yeah, and I've been talking about the weather and everything, and people were talking about that as well. So I think really everything, I get it. I have to do these Google Voice meetings, and sometimes the camera detects, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes the mic works, sometimes the mic doesn't. So it's the same thing going live on YouTube, right? Some audio gets cut off or something. But when that happens, usually everybody right away says, hey, you're muted or you're frozen or something. So everybody's interacting as normal. So I got it right for once. So I'm just looking here, looking for cardboard. I'm gonna test my concept. Don't have much material left. One magnesium plate that I'm gonna cut in half. That's gonna give me, if I cut that in half, that's gonna give me 1.5, make a 3-volt cell. See how well it runs stacked. Oh, it's so dry in here with the electric heat. Oof. Do not cancel Patreon. Wow. Patreon spirit is when someone donates to you, you should return the good favor. Wow. Yeah, I guess a lot of people on there are just, I don't know. I guess there's always, I'm looking for some cardboard that's just not too thick. Maybe this one here will do. There's a lot of tape on there already. Mm. Good cardboard piece. This one here is just a little too small. I know I've got all this. I'm just looking for cardboard here on the side here. On the corner of my eye. If I have something, I need a piece of cardboard or something. A piece of cardboard. I had all of it, and now because I need it. Too thick. Foofy. That's me. Crazy dog. She thinks there's someone at the door because I knocked on the cardboard. Crazy dogs. Foofy! Oh, I had the nerve. There's nobody there. It's just me. Okay. Oh boy. You know when they start, right? It's like you can scream at the dogs and they won't. Oh. Yeah, if I knock right, the dog will. Yeah. Foofy! Enough now. There's nobody there. I'm just looking for cardboard. So I have all of this stuff here. I thought I had that ready to go. Maybe I looked at this one here and I was just going to cut it up. Do I have scissors here? Let's see if this is what I had in mind. I don't know if the piece is good though. I'm going to end up having to break it either. I need a nice solid piece here. I think I got it. That'll be okay. Let's fix up the bad parts here. Carefully remove that tape from there. All right, so I think I got my piece. And that'll be good. Just want to fix it up a little here. That looks good. Just a little dent here. I think that'll fit perfectly. So I think what the problem is, I don't know. Yeah, I'll need at least double the size. At least double the size. No, I'm not. I thought I had that here. I guess I don't. That's too bad. Gonna look real quick in my utility closet. I might have that there. Don't mind me, folks. Just looking for a cardboard. This is way too thick. Too thick. I knew I had pieces. It's perfect. Perfect right here. So what I'm going to do is take some measurements here. Oh, tape measure. Where did I put my tape measure? Oh, my ruler was right here. Or tape measure. Okay, so I can put it about here. If I had a ruler, it would be better. Okay. Actually, you know what? I know what. This will be better. Just thought I have right the thing. This will make sure it's. Almost there. There we go. Aha. Seems much better. Just going to create a separate. Just separating it here. Just creating a barrier. Perfect. So what I'm doing is I basically want to test my capacitor concept without spending $1,000 to see if I can stack them the way I think I can. The next step, I need to take some, keep forgetting stuff, unreal. All right, this is the boring part, which takes a long time. We have to condition the cardboard. So, all right. I don't want to jump into this right now because it's a big topic. But you can do the research. What I need to do here, when you put bleach on there, an interesting chemical reaction happens. So I condition it. So put bleach in here, let this soak up in the bleach, take it out, let it dry out completely. So it takes about a day. And what that does is creates a byproduct of ions or ion compatible byproducts. Very, very, very rich. And not only does it create these ion byproducts in the chemical process as it hardens back and cools down and dries, it gives you essentially a kind of very, very active solid state. So the dielectric becomes a solid state electrolyte essentially, as far as ionic conduction goes. And very, very, very rich because of the chemical reaction that happens. And then once it dries, it binds those, it traps those ions inside the cardboard. And they are trapped. But I have to condition it. And I've got my trusty bleach here. Ultra bleach disinfectant. So without further ado, this in there. And I look until it's well soaked. Just like a couple millimeters. Let the cardboard likes to warp. I don't like that, but that's part of the soaking process. During the dry up, you can put a weight on there. So that's all I need. It's already well soaked. So I can put that back in there. I use this just for that. So don't worry about me putting it back in there. It's not washing clothes or anything. It's just for this reaction. And by the way, if you have a radiation counter nearby, as this thing dries, will hit with ionizing because of the gases, right, of the ion. they get trapped in there, and some radiation meters, they'll think you've got ionizing radiation going on. It clicks them. It actually clicks like you've got radiation. So now it's in there. I just let it dry for 24 hours. And then I'll move on to the next phase. Not even sure if it's going to work. That's why, again, I don't want to spend $1,000 on this. So one way to find out if I can get 2 cells to work, it's a good start, right? Then we'll take it from there. And I'll go to 10 and then 100. That's all we're doing today. So let's see now. It's what's interesting is these put out more the thing, right? The if you look at the mega electron volt scales, the MEV, what happens is, like, for example, you could use 2 similar electrodes, very similar electrodes, like for an instance, for convenience, because it's very good conductivity, I have the magnesium plate, and naturally very, very negative, right? So you put another plate that's non-corrosive, let's say aluminum, and you take lemon juice, right? Put in lemon juice, even put some salt in there, try and make it even a better electrolyte. And you can do this experiment at home. Magnesium and aluminum. And the best you get is about 0.5 to 0.6 of a volt. And if you look on the scale, it's right in that range where it should be if you're looking at a galvanic reaction, right? Now this, and of course, maybe 1 milliamp burst if you're lucky. This here is a little different, about 1.6 volts per cell, very similar electrodes. So it's not the same mechanism as the traditional galvanic cell, even as a solid state electrolyte. It's acting more like an electric capacitor, like a low level version of one, and gives you a steady. And what I find fascinating is the current. It runs motors, lamps, clocks, which the typical, with this stuff, with just water and lemon, it's, So that's where, like you said, 100 watts makes a lot of sense, right? If you bring like maybe 150 plates under load, it drops to like 110 volts, but let's say 25 mA to 50 mA per plate. That means something at 150 volts now, right? That's why I'm thinking of using something as crude like this here, the mechanical vibrator that's designed to feed a transformer, like a relay. This one rings at about 60 hertz. So you hook this up to the cell and you've got, this one here is rated for 50 watts. So you've got 50 watts, 6 analog, 60 hertz. It would be a good talking piece, conversational item for the very least, which would run for several years for sure. So yeah, it's a long shot. It's a long line. There's a lot of steps to it, but I just don't want to go nuts right away. So I'm doing this, section at a time here. Just very interesting how locking in ionic or ionic byproducts into the dielectric changes the behavior of the capacitor, even looking at the non-galvanic side of it, right? Because the whole idea of a dielectric is you don't want it to conduct, you're shorting out your capacitor. But I never looked at, let's increase the ionic volume in the dielectric and what that would do. And that seems to, in my early experiments anyways, influence how the system behaves. So yeah, not much more to talk about. I have to wait a day now for this to dry out properly. And I guess I'm gonna say good day for now. And thank you all for spending time with me. And until next time, and I hope you all have a great day. And thank you all so much for watching. Oh, end videos over here.